Hi guys, Kar Yong here and welcome to another episode of the How to Trade with Fibonacci Ratios. Now this is the third episode in this entire series and today we're going to talk about Fibonacci Extension. Now before you continue on this particular episode, if you missed the previous two where we first talk about how to objectify a trend and the second episode we talk about Fibonacci retracement. If you missed any of them, make sure you go through those two episodes, those two videos first before you continue on to this one, because this entire series is designed in a way where we build up from the very first episode to what we're going to cover today over here. Right, so with that, let's get started with what is Fibonacci Extension, okay? So in the previous video, we talked about retracement. The concept of retracement is equivalent to like a pullback, right? Where if you take a mountain climbing, for example, retracement simply means like you're taking a rest before you continue to climb and hike the mountain to the summit, right? So the idea of extension is a little bit different over here, because if you imagine today, right? If today retracement is like a pullback, then extension is a little bit the kind of like the opposite of it, right? So for example, if today we have a starting point over here, okay, and let's say price starts to go up, right? So this initial move, there's nothing much we can really analyze or talk about it, because if this is the initial starting point and price just went up, there's nothing much to talk about, okay? And of course, if it starts to stall a bit here for a while, for temporary, and starts to come back, right? This is again what we call a retracement. Now, when you have a starting point and price starts to go up, and then right now you do have a retracement, then the concept of extension starts to come in, okay? The idea here is right now you have an initial point, you have the first point where it took a rest and it starts to form the retracement. So the extension understanding is right now from where we have taken a break, okay, how far can price move further from where it starts to stall a little bit. Okay, so to give you some principles, or I would say some numbers to keep track of. Now let's say this is point 1, this is point 2, okay, and let's just say this here in terms of unit measurement, if let's say this is 100 units, okay. So the idea here is that after it has formed a retracement, it has taken a break, the understanding of extension is from here, right now, how far can price move off in relation to this move of, let's say, 100 units, okay? Now, so let's give an example, and let's say, price starts to move off and, it starts to stall here, and we start to see another kind of retracement. So the concept of extension is we want to understand, okay, from where it has taken a break, which is over here at this point 2, this is point 3, and of course this is point 4. We want to understand from 3 to 4, how much in proportion has it extended beyond point 2, right? So if let's say this is 100% and let's say this move here is about 60 units, okay? So you realize that, okay, if this move here is 100 units, this move here beyond point 2 is additional of 60 units. So in terms of percentage wise right now, okay, this is about 60% of that, right? So in other words, if we talk about Fibonacci extension, we are understanding and we are calculating based on this, how much did it extend, okay? So in this case here, we will say it's a 60% extension. So in Fibonacci concept, it will become 1618. That's a very common Fibonacci extension, right? So some of the very common ratios, of course, is 1 to 7%, okay, which means that the extension is about 27 to 30% of the initial move. You do have the 1618, okay, and of course you do have like 200%, which is double of this, right? So you do have a few common ones, but most of the time, okay, 1618 and 127 is the common one. Alright, you can extend on beyond like 300, 361, 261, there's many other different. Okay, so the idea here again, at the start of this episode, we're going to want you to understand, right, what is the concept and the principles of extension. And from there, okay, we'll proceed on into how then do we use the concept and the principles of Fibonacci extension? Okay, so this is the understanding part of it. Now, once you understood it, right, how do you, before that, okay, how do you actually pull your Fibonacci extension? You're actually using the same exact tool of Fibonacci ratio, Fibonacci retracement, okay? But for you to measure 0.3, if you recall correctly, the last video, right, we talked about it, you pull from 0.1 to 0.2, and then all the ratios will come out for 0.3. For extension, you're using the exact same tool, okay, which most platforms have, but you're pulling it in the opposite direction. Because why? You're measuring the extension, right? So instead of 0.1 to 0.2 in this case here, what you'll do is if today you want to measure extension, you need to pull from 0.2 to 0.1. Okay, and of course you need to do a little bit tweak in terms of the settings of the Fibonacci ratios, and then all the calculation will automatically be put up onto the chart. Right guys, so in this video, this clip here, I'm gonna talk about how specifically you can set up your Fibonacci tools and how to use it in such a way that you'll be able to set it on your charting platform and of course use the Fibonacci ratios to measure your extension. Right, so without further ado, let's jump into the charts. Okay, so over here, I'm using the platform called TradingView, which is free. It's one of the best charting platform that many traders use. I personally love it. Okay, so if you're not having an account on TradingView, I'll drop a link below. It's free. Of course, they do have the professional and the paid version. But if today you're just starting towards your trading journey, right, you're looking at technical analysis, you can actually use the free version. So once you go on to TradingView, okay, perhaps, you know, if you're very new to this platform, I might do a walkthrough, okay, a complete walkthrough of TradingView platform to share with you, okay, but this video we can't do that or else it's going to be very lengthy. So I'll dive straight into the very specific tool here called the Fibonacci ratios. Okay, so you can actually find it and on the left hand side of it, okay, if not then the shortcut is alternate F. Okay, if you want to look out for it is the third icon here. If you click on the expand, then you can see over here Fibonacci retracement or alternate F. Okay, so once you do it, how to pull it on TradingView, okay, is you just need to locate 2 points. Okay, so for me, what I'm gonna do is right now I'm just gonna click one point and then drag it to another side and just click it again. That will release the tool itself. Okay, right now on the chart, of course, you can see a lot of numbers because I've already set some of it inside. Okay, so very quickly, once you have actually done this too, right, you can see somewhere on your screen, you'll be able to locate this. There's a gear setting icon. You click onto it, and this is where you'll be able to set out your Fibonacci ratios. Okay, so this is like a ruler. In terms of Fibonacci, is essentially a ruler, right? So what you want to do over here is to kind of like tell this tool what are some of the important levels that you want to showcase on the chart. Okay, so let me take away the retracement because we don't really need that, right? But let me put in the 100 and of course 0 and 1 is the 100 and 0 for reference. Okay, so most of the common extension ratios that we use is of course like 127 over here, 141, 1.618. Okay, what I'll do is if you're very new to all those ratios, just pause this video, go to your TradingView platform, your browser, do it exactly as how I've done. Okay, in TradingView, there's a shortcut as well. You can actually key in a negative number, right? So you can see later, I'll show you, right? 1.272 and negative 0.272, they are essentially the same thing. Okay, so if you want, you can follow this and then I'll show you in a moment what I mean. Okay, now let me hide the negative one first because most of the time people are more kind of like more familiar. Okay, this is the convention way of doing things, right? So let's do that. Okay, so now very simply, okay, let me pick one chart for an example. Okay, so we're just gonna use any chart over here. Okay, I'm gonna use this. Okay, now for example, if this is where we're gonna start, this is our starting point, this is then, you know, our initial high, and you can see right now it's doing a retracement, right? Now let's say we want to measure if this move is going up after this retracement, how far can it extend? Okay, that's why we need the Fibonacci extension too. Now, for us to measure extension, we pull it from the high. If it's going up, right, we want to measure extension at the top. We need to pull the opposite direction compared to how we pull it when we want to measure retracement. So we're going to pull it from this high here down to this low. Okay, and you can see all the ratios extension now are above, right? 127, 141, and 1618. Okay, so just now I did a shortcut, right? I shared with you that if you put in the negative numbers, okay, that's actually a shortcut. In a way, the shortcut here refers to if I'm going to take the Fibonacci retracement tool and I just pull it as how I usually pull it for my measuring of retracement, you'll be able to see that this numbers in negative actually appears exactly the same as 127, 141, and 1618, right? So depending on your own preference, right? Some traders, they want to just pull in one direction all the time, then they set in the negative number. But to me, important part is you understand the principles, the concepts of it, okay? And from there, you know what they meant, okay? What they mean. So for me, of course, I don't really use the negative number because what I'll do is I always just pull according to what I want to measure. If today I want to measure the retracement of this move, then I'll naturally be able to pull it from the bottom to the high, and of course the common ratios here 50%, 618. Okay, if I want to measure the extension of it, I'll naturally just take the same tool and I'll pull it in the direction that I want to measure. Okay, so I hope that's clear, giving you a direct application of how to use this, how to set up your Fibonacci ratios and apply it on a chart. Okay, and what's going to happen next in the second part of this video, we're going to talk about the strategy component of it. Okay, so how we use Fibonacci extension, based on this concept, is that we are using this to kind of project where would price likely head after it has done a retracement. Give you an example, right? If today we are looking to buy, let's say the entire market is an uptrend, right? So starting point here, we do have a higher high, higher low. Okay, so this is the initial start of a trend. Okay, and now let's say from here, price starts to form a correction. Okay, a retracement. So what will then happen is this entire piece becomes your one move, right? So if I draw it in blue, that's how it looks like. So this is your point 1, this is your point 2, this is your retracement as of now, right? So now, let's say you use the Fibonacci retracement concept. Okay, you add in a little bit. If you still recall, the last video we talked about the strategy component. If let's say over here, that's about 50% retracement, that's where you're looking to buy. Okay, and you are now entering a buy trade. You need to have a target, you need to have a projection of where likely price will head to. Okay, and that's where we use the Fibonacci extension. Okay, so now let's say we do a Fibonacci extension and we do a projection, right? So this is the second point here. This is the high point, right? So from 1, it goes to 2, and it's now doing a retracement. To measure the extension, you pull the opposite. You pull it from here to there. Okay, and all the ratios will come up, right? So one of the very common extension ratio we use is of course the 127. Okay, 127.2. Okay, so it's about the 127. So the idea then is that of course this 127 becomes your initial take profit target, because what you're anticipating right now over here is that you're anticipating that after price does a retracement and it starts to go back up, likely it will come towards this key zone at 127. Okay, of course, sometimes the market doesn't need to necessarily hit there. Sometimes it can go beyond 127, it can go to 1618. But usually, this is the most common TP level 1 that many traders use in terms of Fibonacci extension. It's a 127. Okay, so I hope you can start to see how we are piecing the Fibonacci ratios together. First is to understand the principles, the concepts of it, what does it mean, and of course we are also sharing with you how you can actually put it and incorporate that into a proper trading strategy, from the retracement technique all the way until right now in terms of the extension technique. Right? So I hope you actually benefited and learned something about Fibonacci extension in this particular video, and of course using it on the proper technique in the proper way. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments below. I'll look through them and answer your questions accordingly. If again you are not have yet to subscribe to my channel, haven't liked this video, please do that so that you help the algorithm a little bit to reach out to more traders, to benefit them in terms of the concept, the principles, the strategy over here. And of course, make sure you click onto the notification button so that when I release the next video, you'll be the first one to be notified. Right? So with that, I'm gonna see you in the next episode where we're gonna talk about Fibonacci expansion and of course how all these Fibonacci ratios come together.